Heavy Podcast, hosted by Craig Gonzalez. What's up, guys? Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast. Welcome to another fucking beautiful episode coming at you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know when you're listening to this. I hope if it's on your way to work, I hope it's a all right drive. You're not stuck in fucking traffic. You probably are if you live in LA or Ventura or anywhere else, because apparently COVID's over. We got a cool fucking episode. One of my old friends, Bryce the Colonel Ferguson from Colonel Records. We met back in, I don't know, it's been at least 10, 15 years ago. He was working at Hydra Head at the time. A fucking truly, honestly, awesome fucking guy. From the moment we met, we decided we were friends. And, it's cool to see what he's developed into, a father, a fucking, just an all-around good motherfucker, man. We got some cool stories. Apparently, I tried to stab him, so that's a whole thing. This podcast is sponsored by Salzer's Records, 5777 Valentine Road, Ventura, California. 50 plus years of providing you with an incredible amount of fucking music, gifts, records, tapes, vinyl, CDs, whatever you want. They got a head shop up there full of all the things, all the doodads, the gadgets that you want to get fucking high as a kite, baby. Test clean. They got everything up there. They got an adult shop for all you little freaks out there. Whatever you want, you can put it in yourself. They supply it. Salzer's Records, 50 years, independent music shop owned by the Salzer's family. R.I.P. Jim. God damn it, I miss you. Check it out, man. Open 11 to 7 daily. Check out the record store and also the last video store on earth of Salzer's Video across the street. You can find anything you want there. Shit that you cannot find on YouTube. Imagine that. It's not on YouTube. They got it at Salzer's Video. Go check that place out, man. For over 50 years, they've been serving the community. Jim did amazing shows in the 60s and 70s. He was a massive promoter, started that record store, and it has gone strong ever since. I've said it a million times. I love that place. It started my real life. I met my wife there. I met my friends there. I started most of my bands that did shit there. I love that fucking place. Go support. Let's keep it around for another 50 years. Salzer's fucking Records. Fuck Amoeba.
Hello.
Look at you classy motherfucker. Damn, dude, you got the backdrop and everything.
I do. Yeah, I'm at work. I don't know for sure, but I'm fairly certain this was installed during the COVID. That we're doing a ton of Zoom meetings. But yeah, we got this big, giant picture behind me.
Is that are you in Jackson? Is that where
I am?
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Back in Jackson.
Amazing, man. We just got back from Yellowstone, man, and I wanted to make it down there to say hi, but dude, that park is so fucking massive. And,
it is huge.
You know what I mean? It was just, we didn't spend one day less than 5 hours in the car. I mean, or the truck,
Right. You could do like a month in Yellowstone and still see not everything.
I feel like so. I feel
everything.
That is true, man. It's incredible. We did the lower loop. Right,
nice.
We saw the turnoff for you, and then it was still like another 60 miles. I was like, oh, I don't know, man.
Slow driving too. It's like 60 on a map. You're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like we can go. It'll be like an hour. But
Right.
once you're in the park and you're with all that traffic, all the animal jams, it's gonna take you like 3.5, 4 hours to get that 60 miles.
Totally, we did. It was about 6 hours to do the full lower loop. You know what I mean? And that was stopping and fucking doing the things and all that.
It is wild here. So my wife and I just went out to the park for her birthday last weekend, and we got there. It was a Sunday, and I was like, all right, it shouldn't be that bad. We went to like kind of a secret spot. We pulled in, and there was a line of traffic in front of us. We waited an hour and a half to get parking. All of these cars in the national park just idling. Just pumping all of the exhaust into the ozone. And this is this is standard for the summers here.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like we got there, and the lady at the hotel, we went through the West Gate. The lady at the hotel was like, "Listen, don't fuck around. Get into the park before 7."
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was like, "Really? It's that bad?" She's all, "It's so bad." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, so we did it, and we got in easy and out easy, dude. It was because we got in before the rush. First day we shot down to Old Faithful.
Yep.
Did all the things on the way back out. Yeah, did all those things. The fucking kids pooped out, and I forget, we're at 10,000 elevation up there.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids were like, "We can't breathe." I'm like, "Stop being fucking whiners."
The acclimation is actually pretty wild.
It's brutal, dude. And then I realized, oh, yeah, dude, no one can breathe up here, because I'm a fucking savage. I was like, I'll just die out here. Fine. That's fine, But,
yeah, and I mean, you got to factor in the level of smoke that we have pumping in here from all the wildfires too.
Right.
Like
yeah.
we have thin air, and it is smoky.
Yeah. Is it smoky down there? Because it wasn't in the park when we were there, but it was. It was every ounce of the trip up and on the way back was pure fucking smoke.
We got the Jackson borders Idaho. We're like 20 minutes to the first town in Idaho, and there are some pretty crazy wildfires happening over there. And
it's bad, dude.
Floating right over.
Yeah, it's just I've said it. We have like 3 seasons. It's spring, summer, and apocalypse, and that's fucking it. Like, that's all we have.
It's slowly just becoming apocalypse.
I know, yeah. And everyone's like, "Well, I guess this is what it is now."
Especially here, it's grim. I feel like everyone comes to Jackson with this promise that it's going to be like this beautiful natural wonderland, and recently it feels like I'm living in Epcot Center. Like,
really,
the downtown area is just horrible. Wow. It's just completely packed with tourists from all over the place. We've gotten to the point, it's so bad here. There's a housing crisis. And on top of that, the level of tourism that we got, we've almost doubled what we had last year, which was record breaking.
Wow.
Nat Geo ran a story. So none of the restaurants downtown can operate. So they're all starving for help. So minimum wage here, I just saw that they're offering $30 an hour to work at Subway.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because they cannot stay open. They just don't have people that live in town that can work.
Yeah.
So you have all of these tourists coming here, and they're going downtown, and they're all so pissed because there's no restaurants. Restaurants operate like 3 days a week for 4-hour windows.
Right.
And so there's really no no food. So it keeps getting grimmer for the tourists.
Damn,
and then,
dude. Well, that's kind of good though, because you're like, yeah, motherfuckers, it's terrible here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Come to Jackson. You can't see the mountains because of the smoke. There's no food to eat. You'll sit in traffic for hours and hours and hours. Please come on down.
Yeah, come on. I would assume the influx, a lot of it is probably because of COVID, right?
I mean,
no one did shit for a year and a half.
Yep. And I mean, I think the big boom we had last summer was that COVID stimmy check boom. Like, I'm not working. I'm renting an RV. I'm putting my whole clan in it. Right. We're gonna drive across the country and fuck up every national park on our way out.
Yeah, totally. Just throwing cigarette butts and fucking Cheetos bags out of it while you're riding.
Exactly. It is insane.
It's like, yeehaw, motherfuckers, we're getting it. We're going to NASCAR after this shit.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, man. It makes sense. I mean, I saw some goofy shit when I was there, man. I mean, I kind of talked about it, but a lady I basically saved some chick's life, dude. We were pulled over to look at a buffalo or bison.
Oh,
whatever,
my God.
I know there's a difference, but I don't know. I'm a moron. So I'm fucking standing there. Yeah, I'm standing there, and I'm like 50 feet away, and it's right on a trailhead. It's just sitting in the road, like they do, because they're fucking, the giant assholes of Yellowstone. And I'm like taking pictures, and I'm watching these 2 chicks just beeline straight for it. Like, straight for it. And they're about 15 feet away, and I'm like, no way. And now the buffalo's looking at him like, really? You know what I mean? Like, really, motherfuckers? And I'm all, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, I got to walk on the trail. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't get any closer to that fucking thing, dude. And she's like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I don't know, bitch. Walk around it. It's a 2-lane road. Like, fucking go around, you know? And she's like, ah, you know, like, well,
Yeah.
like, I'm like, you're gonna, and I thought like if it was just me, I would have watched it happen. But you know, on top of having my kids in the car watching someone get mauled to death,
Of course.
you know what I mean? Which, you know, it's a learning experience.
We were just going over there these questions that happen around town, and we all locals bring them up with each other. You know, I work the building I work in is a public building. It's a nonprofit building for art associated nonprofits.
Okay.
So we're open to plenty of tourism. You can come in, go through the galleries, and just kind of check out what we're doing.
Right.
And we get some odd questions. What time do they let the animals out in the morning? I'm not even kidding. Like, that is a legitimate question that has been asked while I've been here. We had, at what elevation does an elk turn into a moose?
Okay.
Not kidding.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you release a pig into the wild, it does become a boar.
Right.
Same thing with elk and moose.
An elk and a moose.
Yeah. Same shit.
You know, the higher you go.
That's the one thing I didn't see was a moose. I saw everything. No, I didn't see any moose.
Yeah, they're around.
They're fucking elk are big, dude, and moose are bigger, right?
They are.
Yeah.
You almost like, you know, there's a lot of wildlife accidents here.
Yeah.
You almost would
bet.
prefer to hit a moose because you're just going to hit its legs and the rest of it will fly over your car. It's not going to go through your windshield like an elk or deer.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. I mean, scattered deer everywhere and stuff. But how long? I know. So you've jumped around a lot. I mean, it's been first of all, it's really nice to see you. It's been many years. You know what I mean?
I've been really looking forward to this. And
yeah, man. I know we've had to reschedule, you know, a bunch of times. I got shit. You got shit.
Yeah.
Being a dad, you know, it's like
and
shit's in the air, dude.
New dad is my schedule's tough.
Yeah. So what? You guys were in the South, and then you moved over there?
Yeah, so we were living in Atlanta for a couple years. My wife's
dude.
family's from down there, and we have a lot of friends there, and a lot of our bands were kind of located there for a while, or at least we worked with New York bands that had members that were from Atlanta. So getting out of New York, I was in New York almost 20 years, like 17 years.
Right,
And getting out of New York, we needed an easy transition, job-wise, and Atlanta was, you know, the perfect zone. It was cheap, easy to move in, and we had a lot of friends there. So we got down there. We lived there for 4 years, and it was great. Atlanta is still a wild town.
It is, man. I've had some of the most wild tour things that have been in Atlanta. Is it Drunken Unicorn? Is that Atlanta? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there was some weird shit that went down over there in that town, dude.
Especially over there, like by where the Drunken Unicorn is.
We actually showed Hull, you know, Hull, Hull, the band.
Oh yeah.
We went on a tour with them with the Wrath, and I think our true actual colors came out on them that night. We got shit housed on Jim Beam.
Oh yeah.
And fucking we went like full, we call it going night zoo, right? Like when the animals come out, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, and they're New York guys, they're fucking badasses and all that, but they're not ready for weirdo beach dudes, man. And we fucking got weird, man. Like, you know, they all went to get cool matching tattoos, and we got shit house in the van and went to it turned into a nightclub or like a bar or something after.
Yeah, downstairs in the Drunken Unicorn.
I think our guitar player like finger banged a chick on the dance floor. It got fucking weird over there, bro. I mean, it's consensually.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. But it was like they were looking at us like, oh, you guys are nuts. Like, because it was like the first week we had really met. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And and Atlanta's nuts, dude.
Oddly enough, you brought up Hull. I actually was the original singer for that band.
Really?
Yes, and Drew from Hull is from Jackson Hole. We went to high school together.
Okay, trip out. It's a small
He moved
world.
to New York and moved in with me and Ryan Duffy in Brooklyn, straight out of Jackson.
I love that man, dude.
Yeah,
we had him on the pod during the middle of COVID. You know, it was a cool perspective. You know. But from what's going on over there. But yeah, just talented motherfuckers, those guys, dude.
Yeah, they're great.
And they might be the first band that outgeared us. You know what I mean?
They did.
They definitely outgeared
us. Their
us.
backline is wild.
It is wild. Because Wrath was at a time where we had got off full stacks, but we're still louder than fuck.
Yeah.
And they came in, and we would just like, we would watch them like drinking beers and just cabinet after cabinet. I'm like, good luck, guys, have fun. Like I did that, a million tours of that, you know.
Yeah, watching them load in down the stairs
I
at
know.
North 6, like the steepest stairs you could possibly
know.
think of. And there's like 7 guitar players in that band.
Yeah. 2 bass players, fucking 7 guitars, 6 drummers, dude. It's basically, they're like the fucking heavy metal Fela Kuti.
That's exactly what they're like.
It's like, Nick's gonna love that. I'm gonna send that one to him.
He will.
Yeah.
He's in Denver now, I think. Yeah.
He's
I'm
all
loving
metal.
all these dudes moving to the mountains.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I know you're in the South, but what spawned? I mean, I know you were in New York for years, right? We met when you were in LA, which was before New York, or you split New York and then came back.
It was a split. So that I was working at Vice in New York, and around that time we started handling distribution for Hydra Head Records, who had just moved from Boston to LA. So I worked a deal with Vice to move out to Hydra Head and label manage and help the distribution transition. And, you know, luckily Mark and Aaron took me on as that label manager. So when I met you, it was, you know, I was sort of bi-coastal. I was in LA, I was working for Hydra Head, but I still had my roots in New York. We were going back to New York a fair amount. And then I ended up just moving straight back to New York after those Hydra Head days.
Yeah, man. I mean, those Hydra Head days, first of all, that obviously I was such a massive ISIS fan, you know, Aaron, all those guys. And like to be able to, even the little bit we were there, you know, helping, I think we helped pack the Melvins box sets and shit, you know, and that's how we met. And then, you know, all that stuff. But I mean, what were those times at Hydra Head as fun as it seemed? Or I mean, how was it over there?
Yeah, I mean, they were great. It was so... I feel like when I came in at Hydra Head, it was just after, you know, Pelican, and we had just released Daughters. So it was like that, like we were at the cusp of
tipping
that
point right there.
of that wave. And Aaron was very busy. You know, ISIS at that point was right after I got there. They were touring with Tool. You know, like they were working with Ipecac and getting bigger and bigger every tour. So Aaron was gone a lot. He was, you know, on the road with ISIS, a lot of time in Europe. So it was Mark, myself, and James, the graphic design guy.
And you know, Wes lives here in Ojai now.
And Wes, obviously.
And I've known his wife since we were in high school, dude. It's
Mickey.
a small fucking world, man.
My son's name is Mickey, too.
Nice. Named after her, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. They lived right next to the Cha-Cha and became great friends of ours. I think through you guys.
Probably,
I think I met the Wrath crew through Cliff Goddard. And like the Boston... They called it the Boston Frat House out there.
And it very much was. Yeah, I love those guys. Another group of psychos. You know.
Yes, exactly. So I think that was the connection with y'all. And I met Cliff through New York friends. He moved. I think he was dating a girl from New York at the time, but he had like the New York connection. We ended up, you know, we liked the same music. We were into the same shit. And then, luckily through him, I got to meet a bunch of other heavy folks. Yeah, man. I mean, it was just you know, the Hydra Head thing, and obviously how it ended was odd. You know what I mean? The whole just dissolving the company. Were you around for that, or did you bail, or did you see that shit coming, or what was going? I mean, it was after my time, so I can't really like speak to what actually created that. What I did see at Hydra Head was. It was interesting because, you know, with the Cave-In push, the Pelican push, you know, Daughters, they had Yezu at that time. All of these bands were getting really, really big. Definitely. And I think they knew that wasn't a sustainable direction, right? Like you can't just continue to sign the same sounding bands. And Aaron's super prolific. Like he understood, his grasp of music is, I feel like almost 5 years ahead of when the general public gets it.
Man. Yeah. Well, I've always said the underground scene is 5 years ahead of mainstream.
Yes.
You know, and then with you know, when you got guys like Hydra Head, Southern Lord, fucking all these labels that have stuck around and continue to stay constant, those motherfuckers are 5 years ahead of us. You know what I mean? Like especially with like Southern Lord, like getting Nails. You know what I mean? Like you're like, because Nails is from here, we know who they are. You know what I mean? Like I know Todd. And fucking, I went, as soon as I saw that band, I went, this band is going to be huge. And then I saw them on Southern Lord, and I went, there it is. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
But those guys are forward-thinking motherfuckers, man.
And that pivot they did to start signing bands that sound like Nails. You know, like they were doing a lot of the Doom stuff before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Greg loves that. And I think it, like, I know that he's rooted in old school hardcore, you know, Brotherhood and like all of that stuff. But it was cool to see him take the label a different direction for a minute. You know, they still had their, you know, doomier side of things, some of the black metal stuff. But he really did for a minute put out a lot of that like power violence sounding, really aggressive hardcore stuff.
Yeah, totally, man. It's a trip. But Aaron's like, even the few times I met him, you know what I mean? He's always such a kind dude. And then, but he always seemed to be, he always had the next thing going, you know what I mean? And Hydra Head developed into a crazy label after a while, you know?
It did. And so I think with Aaron, what kind of my take on it was Aaron was getting really into more of like the noise related things, some of the like harder to digest music, you know what I mean? We put out the Ever Lovely Lightning Heart record, which is amazing, but it's like sonic soundscapes and, you know, they're breaking glass bottles on the ground and record, you know, it's weird.
Yeah, they're playing a trick on us is what
exactly.
Because I like noise, but then at a certain point I'm like, okay, what are we doing here, man? Fuck. I mean, okay, this guy's fucking randomly hitting a piano. Okay. Got it. With a bat. Oh, he's with a bat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Breaking glass bottles into an aluminum trash can.
It's like, all right, man.
Yeah. And I think
which is art, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Right. And I think that was a total that was the yang to what was happening with Hydra Head. I think Aaron purposefully wanted to go weird and minimal and less like trying to fit in with the mainstream image of what the label was becoming.
Right.
And, you know, we work with Merzbow and like some of those names that are really big right now. I mean, he's been big forever, but like really, really big right now. Aaron had the foresight to get involved with projects like that. But on a commercial level, it's, I don't know, like
how sustainable that is.
Yeah, exactly. Totally, and especially when, you know, you've got all of these more commercial releases that you need to give the attention to. And it was interesting. There seemed to be a pull at that point as to what the label wanted to represent moving forward.
Right.
And then, you know, I think Aaron found it with his Siege thing. You know, he started his own label, and it is doing a lot of the things that he wanted to do with Hydra Head. It's more boutique than what Hydra Head was.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mark moved on to doing Vacation Vinyl. He opened that record.
Oh, did he open that? Okay.
Yeah, that was his.
Cool. All right.
And I think in that process, it just left Hydra Head as this thing.
Yeah.
And again, like, it was after my time, so I don't know how all of it went down. I was as shocked as anyone.
Everyone was,
out.
Yeah. I mean, because when you had such a label like that with such a name, you know what I mean? And it's like, I was into so much of the music, and that was probably one of the first labels I had. Like, I don't pay attention to fucking labels. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Century Media, you know all these things, but that, like, everything on, and Relapse is kind of there, but they're so wide, right? Like,
right, yeah.
You know, but like Hydra Head, Southern Lord, fucking handful of these other labels, it's like it was a very specific fucking niche of music, and they're fighting like cutting edge motherfuckers that were doing it, and it was like one of the first labels I like. Every release, I was like, I'm gonna look at it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna fucking do this, and it was only because it was on that label, you know what I mean? And I'd never ever in my life done that, you know what I mean?
They were kind of the first ones that, in my memory, of like this generation sort of heavy music, where they created such a great brand that you really didn't even need to listen to the music to know it. You just trusted the logo, the little match with the flame. You know what I mean? If that was on it, it was obviously great.
It was going to be on point. You may not have liked it that much, but it was still a good fucking record.
Absolutely.
Or a band like Oxbow. You know, I don't like the records that much, but I fucking bought 4. I don't know how many I bought. You know what I mean?
See,
you know,
I love
seeing them live,
that.
different fucking animal. You know what I mean?
And working with Oxbow, so I think some of the funny shit that I noticed later is some of the stuff that was unappealing to me when I was working there, like Merzbow. And like, I wouldn't say Oxbow is unappealing because I kind of got them more.
No, yeah, they were still a band, you know. What
right?
I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like they were pretty fucking punk, you know, and that appealed to me. But musically, it was difficult. Like, I didn't quite understand it. Now, you know, 10 years later, almost 15 years later, I think that's some of the best music that's ever come out. Like, I love what Oxbow has done.
Yeah.
It's button pushing. It's like weird blues. It's taking, the
vocals are odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, that was one of the first bands that you could get away with like it being an odd vocal, not first bands, but in that scene, right? It had to be screaming or not screaming. You know what I mean? Like, and that was one of the first bands. And then you had bands like, oh my God, I just had a band in my mind. Oh, like, you know, Floor, dude, like Floor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everyone fucking loved Floor, but hated Floor because the vocals were weird. You know what I mean? And I loved it. I thought it was great. And then obviously look what they become. But, you know,
I know.
Like, it would, back in that time, it was either all or nothing, you know, as far as yelling. And then even Cave In, I mean, when they started singing, everyone was like, fuck this. You know, like, everyone's fucking pissed at them.
So when I first moved to New York, it was 2000. My first show in New York City, I went and saw, it was the Equal Vision, you know, CMJ lineup. So it was like Converge, Hope Conspiracy. It was all, you know,
all
Boston.
The bands. Yeah.
Boston. American Nightmare, you know, like that 99 2000s hardcore scene. And Cave In was right smack in the middle of that.
Yeah.
They had just released Jupiter, or it was like about to come out, right on the cusp of it. And they started playing and they did all the weird shit from Jupiter, and all these hardcore kids were just like New York hardcore kids, so loud hardcore kids, like
what the fuck?
Exactly. Like you can't even hear the band because the audience is heckling so loud.
Oh God, it's so good.
Screaming like, play some old stuff.
Yeah.
And then finally Brodsky got sick of it. I could tell like it was coming. And he was like, you want to hear something old? All right, we'll do something old. And the whole place just exploded.
Right.
And then they did like a 15-minute cover of Led Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused. And like, that was one of the, that changed my whole shit. I was like, hardcore is boring. This is where
awesome.
we're going.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, he's always, that guy, you know, I've never met him, but he's always seemed to, obviously he does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
Mutoid Man is fucking amazing. It feels like, you know, because that band is so random. You know what I mean? It's like one song, it's a punk song, it's a metal song, it's a fucking, I don't know, a Helmet song somehow. You know what I mean? Like, and he does whatever he wants, man. And it's good that he fucking finally got to do that. You know?
Yeah, and like looking back at the things that brought me into labels like Hydra Head or you know Southern Lord to a lesser extent, but the bands that really like Botch and like you know like those
Coalesce, all that.
Yeah, shit. Right. And like I still enjoy those records, but in now listening to them, the vocals, which I used to love, kind of irritate me. I want it to be less Cookie Monster, more Oxbow, more weird. Let's see how weird we can get it.
Totally, man. Yeah, and it's you know, I have a massive record collection over here, and it's like, you know, I can't get away with listening to fucking a Cave In or like an early Converge record around my family anymore. Everyone's like, hey, you know, and I'm like, it's so good. And they're all, you know, like my kids are making fun of me. It's fucking like, you know, it's like, I'm like, oh man, you know, but obviously
I'm
music
constantly
taste,
trying to put on black metal records and just getting vetoed all the time. My wife is just
hard
like,
vetoes,
not a chance. Nope.
Not happening. I mean, Wolves in the Throne Room, I could maybe get away with, but
some of the more symphonic, like atmospheric stuff. Yeah.
I put on a fucking Venom record. It's like Nope, not hearing this, motherfucker. We're listening to the White Stripes.
Yeah, right.
Fine. Yeah, I think all babies from ever now know the White Stripes. You know what I mean?
My go-to the Ramones. Like I feel like
Right.
I mean I love the Ramones, but it's kids music. It's
It
so
is, yeah.
simple.
It is.
It's really repetitive.
Yep.
Listen to it once, you're gonna have all the songs memorized.
Yeah, man.
And it never gets old.
Yeah, totally. Especially the kids. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know, I have older kids, and I've talked about this endlessly, but fucking genres of music are dead, dude. I mean,
know.
my kids, the YouTube shit they listen to, and I'm not the guy saying it's terrible because they have more downloads than the fucking Beatles. You know what I mean? Like these songs, but it's multi-genre, multi-fucking thing. My kids, you know, I caught my daughter listening to Surfboard the other day.
Oh, really?
I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then like the next one is like this terrible song on YouTube that, you know what I mean? Like she has this endless playlist and it's so fucking random. Like,
well, I'm glad Surfboard made it in.
Well, yeah,
like,
but I was like, where did you even hear that? Like, you know, it was just like, I barely knew who they were. You know what I mean? Like, and I live here, you know, yeah, the kids, they do if you let your guard down enough and you know, you're not the fucking old fart that's like, oh, my music is good. You know, you can really truly experience some pretty cool shit and appreciate it for what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
I know I'm gonna have a hard time with that. Like,
for years I did, you know. Yeah, but just know that whatever you're into, your kids are gonna think it's stupid. You know, I spent half of my fucking fatherhood trying to explain to my kids I'm cool. You know what I mean? It's like, and they're all, sure, dude. Yeah, sure, fucking cool, dude.
I told my wife my biggest fear is that Mickey is going to turn into some like football, baseball, jock, varsity jacket. And so our plan is to just enroll him in every fucking sport we can possibly think of.
Right,
like,
beat it out of him.
Like you're going to do all of this.
Yeah.
And then eventually when you're about 13, you're going to be like, fuck this. And you're going to get into something cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't make any fucking,
And I did.
Yeah. Here's what I can tell you. Don't fucking plan anything. It's not going to work, dude.
Yeah.
Every way in which I thought my life and my kid, the way I'm going to raise my kids.
Yeah.
No. They're their own fucking humans, dude.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
My kids came out and had their own weird shit and they were so uniquely them, you know what I mean? And you can influence them in ways, you know what I mean? But it's just fucking, I mean, I guarantee, one of these kids is going to be a fucking rich white Republican for sure, dude. You know what I mean?
I'm so scared of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just can't control shit, you know? I've said like every intervention starts with, they were such a happy kid. Every one, dude. Every fucking one, you know, watch them.
So
you know
true.
what I mean? It's crazy. You can't control shit, man.
Yeah.
You can be there, show up. That's it. That's all you can do. Show up, try not to scream at them. It's too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if you don't hit him or maybe hit him. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, if you're not fucking lost and feeling like you're screwing it up, I don't think you're doing it right. You know
right. I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, every day is, I'm like, fuck, how are we doing this?
It's crazy, dude. How old?
Mickey's 8 months.
Boy,
now.
Right? You said?
Yeah, he's a boy. Yeah.
He's 8 months?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's a new jack.
That's such a nice time, dude.
I know.
It is, dude.
The
Enjoy
first 2
that
months
shit.
were horrifying. And I mean, like, I was like, I'm ready for this. I can't wait to have a kid.
Did you guys plan to have a kid?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't like actively trying, but like, you know, the discussion had come and we wanted to have a kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when we moved from Atlanta to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
We were living in Asheville.
Mm-hmm.
And we used a fair amount of our savings to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
Took a month to kind of find jobs and get our footing. And then COVID, lovely COVID,
perfect. Yeah.
We both lost our jobs and found out we were having a baby in the same week.
That's about how it goes. Yeah,
yep.
Totally. Yeah, man. I was making fucking $10.50 an hour when Rosie got pregnant, you know? And I was like, what? Are you fucking serious right now? And like about to go on like a gnarly tour, and you know what I mean? And I was like, and not going to come home with any money, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
It's incredible how fast those priorities, you're all, what the okay, shit, you know, like, and we weren't expecting to have a kid at all, although we weren't doing anything to not have a kid.
Right.
I was still fucking shocked, you know, like an idiot, like a white trash moron, dude. I'm like, how'd that happen? How'd this fucking happen? It's like, you know how it happened, dude. Moonlight camping, legs way above the head. Fucking drilled it, dude. That's how it happens.
Yes.
That's what I always say. I've met people that spend $20,000 on in vitro and the trying to have a kid. I'm like, fool, get drunk, go camping. Happens every time.
Yeah.
I said, you want me to help you out? Dude, I could fucking, you know what I mean?
We had a good friend of ours trace their second kid back to a camping trip and a handful of mushrooms. And I was like, that's going to be one magical dude.
Yeah, could be. Could be, man. Yeah, it happens before you know it. But so you've been in Jackson for a while. I mean, you guys are planning on staying there? You like it or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. There are obvious pros and cons. It's a weird town. Like I said, there's housing shortage. There's crazy.
Yeah.
Most of the businesses are operating under skeleton crews. And then, you know, the summers are destroyed by tourism. And then there's like 10 months of winter where you're just like, I forgot about how bad the winters here were. I was like, it'll be fine. I can get through a winter. And then we got back and I was like, holy fuck, this is like way more intense than I was anticipating.
Gorgeous scenery, though.
Yeah. if you can see it.
Every Instagram picture I see, I'm all, God damn, dude. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But it is weird because, like, when you're away, I don't know do you guys have family there?
Like, my mom is, and my brother, his wife, and his son are in Idaho. They're just over the border. They're about 20 minutes from here.
That's not bad. At least you got, like, family, you know. When you move out to somewhere completely on your own, you're like with the kids, you know, you realize how important family is, you know.
That was part of the reason that we chose to come here. You know, when we found out we were having the kid, our only other option was moving back to Atlanta, but the pandemic was in full force, you know, and it just was like, I can't handle being back in Atlanta during all this shit.
Yeah.
So we made the choice to head this way. And, you know, we're sacrificing some of the things that we really love. So yes, I think it's sustainable for a bit.
For a while.
I love my job here. You know, this is great. But there's no music.
Right.
You know, what we're talking about, non-existent.
Nothing. Yeah.
And when I was a kid, it was a lot different. Growing up here, sure, we had like the fucking string cheese incident playing 6 times a year. But I also snuck into...
Feels like 5 too many.
Right. But still, they draw like 2,000 people every time they play.
Hippies abound. Yeah, totally.
There's this bar in the village. The village is like the ski resort area here, called the Mangy Moose. And when I was growing up, like in the 90s, you know, everything blurred. Like it wasn't so you have to be into this type of music to get this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I saw the fucking Melvins at the Mangy Moose, which is like, you know, a shitty little resort dive bar.
Man. Yeah.
And then one of my first shows here was Violent Femmes, which fucking blew my mind at 14. Like,
so you're working at the theater, or is it a theater? What is it? It's an old like performance theater or something, right?
It's like a new facility. It didn't exist when I was a kid.
Okay.
It's really cool what they do here. So it's I work for the administration side of a building that houses nonprofits.
Okay.
And all of these nonprofits are art-based. So you have everything from like ceramics to like dance studios, you know, there's acting classes. There's a on the third floor, they teach you how to silk screen.
Oh,
like,
cool, man.
All of this.
So there's a little culture built into this town, right?
Right, yeah. And this was necessary because when I was growing up, it was all fucking wildlife art. Like, how many times do I have to look at a fucking painting of a moose? I can see that motherfucker out my window. Or like the same mountain I'm fucking staring at.
I know, right?
Go sell that somewhere else. No one's gonna, no fucking local person is gonna hang that.
We know we need some more turquoise jewelry. That's what we need around here.
And there's still a fair amount of that shit downtown.
I'm sure.
If you go downtown, it's just like tchotchke stores, Native American jewelry, which is definitely not Native American.
100%.
You know, and wildlife. And then, like, we have so many rug stores here. Like, people are going on vacation. Like, you know what? I need a $7,000 rug.
Totally. I walk into stores like that sometimes, and those, like, even at Yellowstone, and it's like, this whole store has rugs in it. The whole fucking store. I'm going to buy a 15 by 10 foot fucking rug on vacation. Like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. But I mean, so there was shit going on back then when you were a kid, like music. That's how obviously you got into punk, right? I mean, so absolutely. The shit traveled.
Well,
you know?
There was so growing up here, we don't have it anymore. And I like in my dream world, I would love to open a record store in this town again, because if it hadn't been for this place called Mountoons, which was downtown Mountoons, which was right next to the skateboard shop.
Nice.
I would not have moved to New York. I wouldn't have gotten into the fucking scene I did when I was a kid. You know, like, I remember vividly the first time I heard the fucking Gorilla Biscuits.
Ooh,
you know, like, I'm going into Mountoons and buying whatever bullshit Fat Records is putting out, you know, like fucking No Effects, whatever.
Yeah.
And there was this dude that worked there. His name was King Weep. And he was from Jersey. Grew up that old school, like, New York, you know, everybody's got some crazy name like King Weep.
All right.
Yeah. He was a Lower East Side rat, you know, went to CB's as a kid. Yeah. And I'd go in and, like, you know, he'd look at my shit and be like, "You like this, huh?" And, you know, I could see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so one day I went in and he was like, "All right, check this out." And he gave me Start Today. And it was just like,
blew your fucking mind, huh?
Yeah. And then it's Bad Brains. And then it's fucking, you know, Minor Threat. And then it's into the Revolution Summer fucking weirdness coming out of DC. And then, you know, we have Sonic Youth and the Mainstream, and their back catalog's just fucking brutal noise rock. And so it's because of that location that I got out of this fucking town. And, you know, I noticed, like, kids like Drew and some of the other folks that were more in the punk scene did end up doing fucking amazing things.
Oh, really? Okay.
Of that kind of cultural beacon that didn't exist for a lot of folks.
Right, man. I mean, when you're a bored fucking kid, right? You know, and you get into something as aggressive as hardcore and punk.
Yes.
You know, and then you see what the culture is, right? You know, these guys are out there fucking doing shows, and now there's Book Your Own Life, and you see kind of, you know, through these zines what's going on. It's like, fuck, I want to try this, dude. They're
approachable. Like, that was the biggest thing, you know? Like, you go from going to shows where there's barriers and the band's big rock stars, and, you know, like, I caught the tail end of a lot of that grunge.
Yeah, you got to pay to meet Kiss and fucking, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the whole deal. But yeah,
like, you know, like, you're not meeting Pearl Jam. Like, they seem approachable. They're like, fuck Ticketmaster, we're DIY, but you're still not going up to them and fucking shaking Eddie Vedder's fucking hand.
Right.
So to go from, like, growing up late 80s, early 90s, that was the shit I was listening to, a lot of grunge stuff, and then gatewaying into punk and hardcore, the appeal was that these people that are making music I can speak to. I can go up and be like, "Hey, I fucking love your album." You know, awkward teen, hey, you know, but like, it's still like,
no, it
mattered.
Yeah, you could meet your heroes, right? I mean, that was a big appeal, and not only that, you know, you could do the music, right?
Exactly.
You didn't have to go to fucking, you weren't going to be Led Zeppelin for sure, you know, but and obviously the aggression and the anger, you know, I spoke to a billion white kids, you know what I mean, in suburbs and neighborhoods that had fucking nothing else to do but be, you know, fucking angry, which is fine. But it's a trick. I mean, it's so wild how far that shit goes, you know what I mean? Like, to take that type of, just that same mentality of like, fuck, I can do this. I can do this. Like, a band wants to come to this fucking town because it's the only spot between here and Portland or wherever the fuck. Yeah, fuck it. Let's try it. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, man. It's built a million fucking careers, right? Like, every label head was probably a show promoter. Fucking, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's usually how it goes, man.
That's what we did. So Drew and I, when we were in high school, there's this place out of town. It was this biker bar called Huey's. And this dude was like, this older fucking gnarly biker dude. And he had this basement where he stored all of his kegs. It smelled like shit. It was like a horrible dungeon. You had to open the floor behind the bar to go down this like that fucking scene in Fight Club. You have to go down into it. It's all humid. He allowed us as teenagers to use that space. He didn't charge us anything.
Wow.
He just wanted something happening for the kids in this town.
That's cool.
So we started booking Salt Lake bands and bands from Idaho. Then we all had our shitty fucking bad hardcore bands we were playing in. And we do shows once a month. And it started gaining speed, and we had Converge, American Nightmare, HopeCon.
Damn, really?
Yes. This is actually a great story, though. Yeah. So it was that tour, Converge, American Nightmare, HopeCon. It was in December, and we got the show set up. We're waiting for the band to arrive. We get a call from Matt Pike, old Matt Hardcore Booking Pike, which I think is hilarious that his name is also Matt Pike.
Yeah.
And he's like, the band is stuck in a blizzard in Cheyenne. The bands are stuck in a blizzard in Cheyenne. So your whole show's over. And we were like, fuck. And he was like, well, there's one band that got through. This opening band nobody had fucking heard of. Right. And we were like, all right, I guess we'll just do it. And fucking Thrice.
No way.
Yep. And plays a basement show in Wyoming.
Amazing. Yeah.
And they were like, I'm not a Thrice fan. Not for me.
Yeah.
Don't get it. I love the bands that they looked up to. Sick. I just don't understand. It didn't appeal to me.
Just didn't appeal to you. Yeah.
But as people, some of the best people I've ever met, and they know they're fucking punk and hardcore.
Right.
We talked music all night. I got bands I had never heard of that I still love today through them.
Wow. Yeah.
That Orange, the Orange County thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's so fucking, and it's just so funny to be in a band or to be booking shows and just being like, yeah, dude, come to my fucking town. And then they get there and you realize the kid's 19, you know what I mean? And he's made you a pot of spaghetti. You know what I mean? And it's only on the laurels of what you think you're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
And we were definitely those kids.
Oh, for sure, dude.
I got, in retrospect, I'm like, I'm so glad that Converge and American Nightmare
didn't show up.
Just to see how
Blues alt. I'm not sure about this.
And they're just, it was at that point where they were just
lost. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Or come play our basement.
But you know what, man? They probably would have showed up and fucking had fun anyway. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about, right? I mean, there's no end to weird shit. I mean, I remember the Wrath it was pre-Hole. We had this show booked in DC immediately before we even really it was one of the first shows confirmed, right? Yeah. All good, set up, kids super professional, and fucking we'd get there. The tour's been great, dude. And it's my birthday. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck, this show in DC is going to be sick. You know what I mean? We get to the fucking place and realize it's a restaurant and it's closed and there's no one here. No one. And so I'm trying to call the fucking kid and this lady answers and I'm like, hey, Damien, let's just call him Damien. Hey, is Damien there? And she's like, oh no, he can't talk on the phone. I'm like, okay, well, we're a band that he booked and we're fucking outside of the venue. No one's here. She's like, he's grounded. He's also fucking 16. And I'm like, oh, come on. And we're standing there like assholes at fucking DC. You know what I mean? And it's I get, the kid was the most professional up until that point. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like, damn, dude. We ended up getting hammered at the 930 club, or is that 930 club? Yeah. Got hammered over there. I got fucking tanked on tequila. Anyway, it ended up being a wild night. I had to hand out a lot of apologies that next day, dude.
Of course.
Fuck, it was bad. But you know, it's just like, it's such a, you have no idea. You're just trusting this kid in fucking Jackson, Wyoming. He's like, yeah, come here, dude. It's all good. You're like, no way, dude. And then you show up and it's all good. You know, you're like, fuck.
We got Converge's rider. They had a rider at that point.
Yeah.
It was like 2 pages, and we were like, yeah, we're not doing any of this. Like there wasn't a fucking thing on that we could have gotten for them.
It's like, what is it?
Not a chance.
They need fresh fucking markers for their hands. Like, what do you need?
There was definitely like a request for like dozens of batteries. Like I remember that being on there, and I was just like, yeah, those are. I'm fucking like 18 years old. I can't spend $300 on batteries for you.
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, go fuck yourself, dude. Get a fucking chain connector like everyone else, Kurt.
Exactly.
I'm not fucking replacing batteries in your pedals, fool.
Matt Pike, though, we responded like, the show is booked. He sent the rider. We were like, we can't do this, and he was just like, cool, no problem. Like,
well, they probably. I mean, working with bands, you just send shit out, dude, and see what you can get. I mean,
absolutely,
100%, man. I mean, we never had a rider, but I would see bands that would, and I'm like, you guys are some ballsy motherfuckers, dude. It's like, all right, get it.
I love it.
Then some kids, some 17-year-olds, like, fuck, I gotta find brown M&Ms.
Yeah, exactly. How do I find 300 ounces of hummus? Like,
an organic celery? Isn't it all fucking organic, dude? Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
It is.
So what are you still running the label? I mean, are you? I mean, are you running it out of New York and where you are now, or first I want to know how to get started. Like, what was going on with the Colonel Records?
So post Hydra Head, I moved back to New York. I actually moved around the exact same time Cliff moved.
Yeah.
We kind of made a plan. We became super close, and we kind of made a plan to move from LA back to New York together. Right. I left Hydra Head. I left Vice. And I decided at that point, after learning so much from Hydra Head, a lot of their releases are really complicated. You got foils, so
it was insane.
It was a wild crash course in how to make really elaborate, beautiful vinyl.
And then also make barely any money on them, probably.
Right. So and it kind of like, it was that eye opener. Like, okay, I have all of this knowledge now. There's not a fucking chance I'm putting out a foil fucking gatefold. So I want to do something that is more focused on affordable boutique records and just like more. At that point, I was getting into less heavy music, and I wanted to do more. The first band we worked with was this band, The Weight, who kind of had like a Flying Burrito Brothers thing when I first heard them, and like that country rock thing. I was like, ooh, this is super good. And then after that, we did King Tuff. So that 70s power pop thing. So lighter. I was going drastically lighter with the music that I was being. I don't know, like the stuff that was speaking to me, I guess.
Totally, man. Yeah.
So I started it with that band, The Weight, Joseph Plunkett from that band, and this guy, Wes Duvall, who's a graphic designer. The three of us decided we should start putting some records out. There was a lot of really good music happening in Brooklyn, and a lot of it was just getting swept under the rug for some of the more, I don't know, like haircut bands. Like, it was it was that time where it was like post Strokes, but every band like the Strokes was getting signed and everyone else was just getting a fuck you. Totally. So we wanted to do something community based, supporting Brooklyn bands. And that's how it all began. I moved in with Cliff and Doug and Shauna of Bad Dream.
Doug. I forgot about Doug. Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna love this. Doug and I still we're super close. We text almost daily.
Oh wow.
We're doing Doug's solo record. That's
Cool.
The next thing.
He was always a talented son of a bitch, that kid, man.
And it's cool. It's like it's really experimental. I don't want to speak to what he is trying to create, but for me, it has like this growing sound to it. Like it's just like a wash of guitar noise, and
cool, man.
It's really pretty.
I can't wait to check it out.
I'm so hyped to be working with Doug. He became the sound guy at Union Pool, which is
okay.
You know, the best venue in
Brooklyn.
We
played there at the CMJ festival.
Yeah.
Or part of it that one year when we met up with Hole. We played with them there. Yeah.
They played there. For me, that room, there's a warmth in that room that
it sounded great, dude.
Yeah. And the vibe is always good.
That was actually the last time I saw him, I think.
At that show?
I think so, because I think he was doing sound at the time, or
must
have been,
That makes sense. And so he became an institution there. Like,
That's awesome, man.
He just moved out of New York. He moved back to his family's land. He bought a house on his family's land.
Oh, cool.
And so I know it was hard for a lot of people at Union Pool when he left, because he had become such a part of it. And you know him. He's just like, he's magic. Like,
he is.
Talking to him, it's like talking to like some sort of fucking guru or something like that, you know?
He's always so mellow, so nice, you know what I mean? Yeah. Happy, smiling. Well, at least I remember, you know.
That's exactly. I saw Doug mad one time in like the nearly 20 years we've been friends.
Right.
I saw him get mad once.
Wow.
You know, he was a bike messenger and got cut off. Yeah. And he got pissed, and that was like the only time. And it was so out of character for him, and so like, Doug's a strong dude, but he's so like he's so sweet, and like you don't ever think of him as like, but like I was impressed by what came out of Doug.
When you're impressed by someone's anger, you're all right.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did.
That's awesome, man.
So those guys were crucial in the beginning of Colonel too. You know, Cliff, Shauna, Doug, they helped us stuff records. They were, our living room became kind of the rotating band hangout. And right after that, do you know Tony that started TP Records?
Yeah. I met him once when the Wrath was on TP, but he had already left. And I think Steve?
Yeah,
Steve had taken the ship. Right, yeah.
Yep. Tony was a friend of mine from LA. I met him out when I was living out there. And he offered us distribution through TP.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So in the beginning we had great distribution, and it was really an amazing start to a label. And then Tony got fired from his own record label. Right. And then our distro went, and everything. And it all, like, right as King Tuff was just, it was getting bigger and bigger. We were pressing more records, and we were like, holy shit, like we hit something. Our distro ended, and then we got a letter that King Tuff was going with Sub Pop, and then our record was going with Sub Pop. And then all of this money that I put into the label just ended up in smoke.
Fuck, man. Yeah.
And so we had to pivot and kind of
rebuild.
Yeah. So I started working with more bands from Atlanta. We expanded what we were doing. Joseph moved to Nashville. He bailed on being a part of the label. Wes moved down to Atlanta, so he was still working with us, and he was kind of our A&R guy for, you know, he was our graphic designer, but he was sending us bands, and we were like, holy shit, Atlanta knows what the fuck is going on.
Right.
And then my wife came on in like 2010. And started helping to manage the label.
That's awesome, man. And you guys are still off and running? I mean, obviously COVID fucking made everyone take a hit, right? I mean, we're doing our first show August 7th, Gigi's 21 and over. Check it out. But it's a record release show because we came out in the middle of fucking COVID. You know what I mean?
I remember you sent me the TUNG
record. 1 year late, dude. Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck, man, you know, it's like ridiculous. But how did the label survive through COVID? I mean, you guys have been running and all that stuff, but I mean, did it make a big dent on that shit?
I mean, at this point, Yeah, I don't. It's I don't think I'm pulling back the curtain on anything. The label doesn't. We don't make money. Like
of course, no,
like
of course, yeah.
It's something we have both worked very hard in other jobs,
Right.
so that we would have funds to funnel into this,
right,
so that we can continue to put music out.
right.
It's something that was from my Mound Tunes days. Something that was important to me, that the artists that I love have a voice, and hopefully some fucking kid will buy a record and get into a million other bands, because maybe that's all I care about.
Yeah. I mean, it started as a labor of love. It's still a fucking labor of love.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's great. You know what I mean?
I've definitely gotten pissed and been like, fuck this, I'm done. Like, I'm not putting out any more fucking music.
Yeah.
But then I always fucking do.
There's always another band, right?
Yeah, you hear something,
right,
and you're just like, fuck, I guess I'm back in.
Yeah. Are you working with younger artists at this point? Or like, have you found any younger artists that, because, the whole thing is, like I said, genres are dead, all this stuff, but there are kids that are into some shit, and some of the kids that are making music now are, in Ventura, like, went through this lull, right? Where there was a generation or two below me that were doing shows and fucking creating rad shit, and then it fucking dropped off, like, at nowhere, dude. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't shit going on for newer bands, but now, and I think a lot of it, bad politics makes great music, right? Because as soon as Trump, hits that second year, fucking, I'm starting to see fucking bands pop up, kids are up, they're fucking, I went to a show, and it was like, where normally, a year before, probably 50, 60 people, 350 fucking kids. And I mean, I'm talking 18 and under at this fucking show, and they're going off. And I'm like, what the fuck happened here? You know what I mean? So there are kids that are into some shit, which is cool, But have you experienced like younger bands that are approaching you at all? Or
well, so in Atlanta, we were working with a bunch of peer bands, like people my age still making weird fucking music. I don't know if you've heard Gigi King or like Predator.
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, check those out. There's some weird fucking punk coming out of Atlanta. It's strange and exciting, and like, we've worked with Predator. I just love Gigi King. But I'm going to these shows, right? And they're playing venues, larger venues, 300 capacity to 500. You know what I mean? Punk shows. And there's like 15 fucking people going to these shows, and they're all my age. And I'm loving this music. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is the scene just dead here?
Right.
And then I have this band from New York ask me to book them a show, and I had a conflicting date and couldn't do it. And they ended up finding a house. Right. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to come down to that show for a little bit and check out what's going on. And I fucking get there, and it is the craziest fucking show I've ever been to in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, the house is packed to the gills. It's not set up like you think it's going to be a house show, so there'll be like a large fucking living room.
Right,
like
right. Nope.
A big backyard. It's like this tiny fucking living room, but kids are getting in by just going over other kids into it.
That's
it was
awesome,
just
man.
like, it was like double stacked.
Yeah.
Like kids sitting on other kids.
Double-decker bus.
Exactly.
Kids,
And they're going the fuck off.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. So
yeah.
I saw this band Upchuck there who seemed to be doing well now. They're kind of taking off. And they're much younger. I'm fucking old, and they're like 18 to 20, whatever. And so I'm like thinking to myself, oh, I like this band, maybe this is something we could get into. And like, I go up and start chatting to the kid, and I'm like, hey man, like, I own Colonel Records, I really like your band. This kid could not give a fuck. It was one of those moments where I was just, I'm that old dude.
Yeah.
Like, this kid doesn't give a shit. Like,
the ease of putting out music is fucking wild now, dude.
They don't even have a fucking record out, and they're selling out shows in LA.
See, I've switched my whole entire fucking theory on music, and I am not interested in putting out a record ever again. And we're at single, and I've said it a couple times on the pod, but you're lucky to get 2 songs on a playlist, right? Yeah. I want to put out 2 to 3 songs a year, bangers, and fucking do it. And that's it. And if we get enough to put on an LP and someone wants to put it out, great.
Right.
We put out this one record because I had a couple guys that had never put a record out and they really wanted to.
Yeah.
the band, you know, and I was like, fuck, okay, cool. But I am not fucking interested in an LP ever again.
Yeah.
Like, and it's because of my exposure to what the kids are doing. Like, they don't
care.
give a fuck about an album, and it's hard, you know what I mean? Like, when you run a label and albums are so precious to me,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like, my whole view has changed over these years, man. It's really fucking weird.
We've got some old heads that kind of just follow the label.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're vinyl dudes. They're like me. And we'll put shit out. They'll buy it up, you know, because we did it.
Yeah.
You know, we can get through a run of 500, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're just finishing the pressing on this Weak Signal record, which is this New York band. This dude Mike Bones, who is in Soldiers of Fortune and Endless Boogie.
Okay.
It's his other project, and it's super fucking good. I'm not going to use this as a commercial, but we started the pressing process in winter, and the record still isn't fucking done.
Damn. Yeah, and just with the backup and the COVID
well,
and all
so
that.
the fucking what really fucked it up, and it's never going to be the same, is the lacquer facility going up. The facility that creates vinyl lacquers.
Right.
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It was a huge warehouse fire. And they were the ones that supplied most of the lacquers for American records to be.
Wow. Yeah.
And the fucking crazy thing with that is that lacquer process, the process of creating those, is so fucking toxic that the facilities that make them are grandfathered into the Environmental Protection Agency.
Right. Okay.
So one of those fuckers goes down, you can't
Never
just
gonna
start
do it again.
another one.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Wow.
So now I think there's only 2 left.
Yeah.
And with like the fucking Record Store Day and every major label repressing fucking Herb Alpert and the Tijuana fucking Brass.
Totally.
You know, like it's backing up people.
Yeah, everything,
like us.
dude. You're not the first guy I've heard it from. I've heard it from many label guys. It's like this fucking Record Store Day bullshit is killing everyone. You know what I mean? And then
it is.
And vinyl's more popular now than ever. It's more popular than CDs. You know what I mean? So and I remember there was a time where there was one fucking pressing plant in all of the U.S. And everyone is going to Pirate Press because they press in the Czech Republic, and everyone's going to fucking this and that. You know what I mean? But now, obviously, they've sprung up and kind of got back in business, but it's still a fucking nightmare, dude. I mean, it's, you know, if you're going to press a record, it's like you have to go out of the country or hope to God you fucking know somebody, you know what I mean? They can just slip your batch in real quick, man. You know?
And it's wild because... So the last time I checked in, we want to do more vinyl. I love records, so like it's something I'm going to continue pursuing. But I'm not. I checked in with the plant before I tell someone we're going to do a record with them. I used to just be like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do a record, and then I do everything on the back end. But now I have to call them and see what the turnaround is. 8 months to a fucking year is the turnaround for one record.
Right.
In today's market with all of this shit, the Spotify fucking title shit, nobody's attention span is 8 fucking months to a year.
Right.
And factor in the 6 months before that when you fucking recorded this piece of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the tides change too quick for this to be the length of time from start to finish for a fucking record.
Almost 2 years process. Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man.
To get it on a
in
piece
your
of
hands.
fucking plastic.
So yeah, totally, man.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it just shows that it is a true labor of love, you know, because if you're still fucking doing it and you know what I mean, dealing with all that, I would have been like, well, I'm just lighting all my records on fire. Fuck it. You know what I mean? It's
we're still trying.
I did want to ask you before we get out of here. Sure. I know you worked at Vice. Yeah. I mean, this is in the awesome Vice days, right? Before they were a fucking credible news source or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, was there some fucking wild times back then? Like, this is in the do's and don'ts days, right?
Yeah.
Or all that shit. Like, but did you have a good time working over there, or was it fucking nuts?
It was a pirate ship back in the day.
This is pre-Proud Boys, right? So we're
this is very, and you know that fucking shit. It's so weird. So obviously, I did work under Gavin McGinnis, right?
Right.
I went to his fucking wedding. Like,
wow,
he was one of we had 3 bosses, Saru, Shane, and Gavin.
Right.
And Yes, this was like the do's and don'ts days when the magazine was fucking funny.
When it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of that was Jesse Pearson too, who is the
Sure.
editor.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a bizarre fucking office to work in. When we first started there, our office was a storeroom, like a tiny little storeroom in the back of 555 Soul, you know, like that streetwear jacket company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
totally.
We just rented from them in
Wow.
Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And then, you know, things started going up with Vice, and we ended up moving offices to a larger facility. And it was an odd office experience, and it was definitely one of the most intense work environments I've ever.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is how fucking weird it is that Gavin started the fucking Proud Boys.
Dude, it's odd, yeah.
And like, you know, like
I mean, it's not weird, but I don't know. I didn't know the guy at all, so I don't know. But maybe for you, it's very weird, right?
It is, because like we're looking back, you know how drenched in sarcasm.
Yeah,
the magazine, especially that era.
They built their fucking career off of it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you start reading some of the sarcastic shit, and you're like, holy shit, this isn't sarcasm at all. Like,
this is precursor for some ignorant shit, dude.
Literally just saying the same shit he's saying today, except he's doing it in a way that's like, ooh, I'm so cheap.
Well, there's a picture of a fucking weird looking dude. You know what I mean? That he's saying it under or whatever. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Yeah, it's odd, man.
It is weird, and and now it's kind of changed the questions that when you say you've worked at Vice, it's like, oh, well, do you work with Gavin? You know, like that becomes the foreground.
The conversation, yeah.
Not even going into what Vice has become, like a credible news. Nobody gives a shit that Vice is.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, some of the best journalism, really, you know what I mean? You see some wild shit, man, but it's just, you know, it is that underlying thing. I mean, I actually just said it as a joke. I didn't even really consider it as a question, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, because to see what it's become is $1 billion fucking corporation is like wild, dude. And then for it to start in a box, you know, it's
I mean, you know, those guys were ahead of it. They knew they knew what they had, a fucking vision for what they were gonna do. I remember the meetings when the magazine was gonna pivot. I remember Vice TV before you know they started their.
They started talking about it and all that.
Yeah. And then we signed it. They signed a deal with Viacom for the MTV, you know, Jackass meets National Geographic show that they were trying to do. It's so weird to see all of that, and then obviously what it's become today.
Right.
And one of my best friends is still with the company. He's still one of the main cameramen that they use.
Wow, that's cool, man.
But it is definitely not the same.
Not at all. Yeah.
No, not even close.
Yeah, man.
Like bad old days, you know?
Well, fuck yeah, man. Well, dude, it was a pleasure having you on, brother. I mean, I'd love to have you on again. We'll chat again, you know what I mean? Just bullshitting. But if you want to throw out some handles, where can people find the records, all that shit, go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? I'll give you some shameless self-promotion.
We went over that. I don't need any of that shit.
Yeah. If you want to see pictures of his incredibly cute child and some gorgeous backdrop, go ahead and check him out on Instagram. You know?
Yeah. But, Find the Colonel or Colonel Records.
There you go, man. Well, dude, pleasure to see you, man. I hope I get to see you for real one day.
Fuck yeah.
You know.
Oh wait, I got one more story before we go.
Okay, please.
I was thinking about this today when I was walking home before this fucking interview.
Oh no. Okay.
So one of my favorite things, Craig related, was we were at the Boston Frat House.
Yes.
During one of those fucking wild parties, and Cliff had an airsoft gun. You know, like one of those little rubber bully fucking pistols. And I was shooting everyone at the party like a total fucking drunk asshole. And I shot you like a few times. And you were like, if you shoot me one more fucking time with that pistol, I'm going to cut you. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I like shot you. And then you walked up and shoulder checked me. And then like we both had a little laugh about it. And, and I went home and I was taking my pants off. And there was a fucking slice in my jeans. And I was like, that motherfucker actually cut me.
Oh, no. I don't remember doing that at all, dude.
Oh my God.
I was blown away, and I was
Oh.
impressed. I was like, oh, that wasn't an error. Like I thought, I thought your shoulder check was no. That motherfucker cut my fucking leg.
Oh my God, dude. I used to fucking do that. And now that you say that, you know what? Because that house is so fucking scary, dude. Like, because Boston guys like to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like every time I was there, it was fun. But then there was like that one time where what's that fucking guy that always got in trouble? John or something. It got
John
weird.
Ford.
Dude, it got weird like every fucking time I was there. And I remember like at one point being like, you know what? Fuck this, dude. You know what I mean? And I mean, no hostility with you. I don't know. And I don't remember doing it, but it certainly kind of tracks, man, for me.
Yeah, it was an intense scene to walk into because you did have all of those like super Boston dudes.
They're breaking bottles on each other and shit.
Fuck
you know?
Yeah.
God damn
And then
it,
you
man.
factor in like the hundreds of LA weirdos that would go through the doors of those parties.
My God.
It was intense.
And I actually cut you.
I didn't feel it. Like I got home and I just was like, "What the fuck?" And like, there's just a decent 4-inch cut in my jeans.
Oh my God, man! I'm sorry, bro.
No, I had it coming because I was shooting you with that.
Yeah, you shot me a bunch. I remember that time.
Yeah,
God damn, man. Well, fuck. I appreciate you sharing that. And I was a psycho. Yeah, fuck, dude. I would fucking pull knives on people all the time. God, I don't know. Who am I? Jesus.
I know. I look back at the shit I did when we were much younger, and I'm mortified by most of it.
I know, right? Yeah. Fuck. Thank God the internet wasn't real big back then.
I think about that all the fucking time. Like
I'd be on the podium right now. I'm sorry. I was a piece of shit.
I practice that shit in the shower. I'm just like, one day they're coming for me.
I'm learning Mandarin. I'm gonna give out apologies in fucking Mandarin. The whole deal, dude. I'm going full John Cena on this motherfucker.
Exactly.
Jesus, dude. All right, man. Well, you just made my fucking day. God damn it.
I'm glad you like that one.
Jesus. Okay, man.
Fuck,
dude. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Also, okay, guys. Thanks for tuning into the episode. Go ahead and check out the patreon.com/Get Heavy Podcast. $1 a month gets you in the door. These episodes go up a week early. Bonus content, early access, all that shit. I really appreciate everyone that's been on the Patreon. Everyone's supported me in any way. It fucking means a lot. I'm still building this thing. I'm growing it. You can listen to this podcast on all major podcast outlets. You can watch us on YouTube. Check out the links in the bio. Also check out the merch, man. Localshop.com/Get Heavy Podcast. We got some merch. We got some sweatpants coming up. All kinds of cool shit for the winter. We're gearing up for winter. Summer is about over. I'm going to be doing hoodies, sweatshirts, all kinds of shit like that. We're going to get some fucking cool logos, bro. We're getting logos on sweatpants. It's the new thing. It's the new hotness. So check that out. And also tell your fucking friends about this thing, man. Spread the word, spread the love. Everyone that's supported this thing so far, I really appreciate it. It's building, it's growing. We got some amazing guests coming up. Man, I'm thankful, dude. I'm thankful that even half of you guys that listen to this thing even maybe want to hear me say dumb shit. I don't know. Much appreciated. See you on the next one.